If you've been browsing Twitter and YouTube for the past couple of months, you'll know that there's been an abundance of rumors, leaks, and even pictures detailing what the Nintendo Switch's successor is all about. Some third-party manufacturers have showcased what seems to be the actual console long before an official announcement. As of recording this video, the current wave of rumors speculates that we're getting an official announcement during this month, even down to this week. So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my hopes and wishes for the Nintendo Switch's successor. I don't plan on delving into the nitty-gritty details about specs and all that, nor am I going to cover any rumors, as there have been many over the past couple of years. And keep in mind, a lot of what we've heard is all mere speculation, and the hopes and wishes I'll be talking about myself are nothing more than exactly that. Nothing about this is concrete, besides specifically discussed information, which I'll mention when need to. And speaking of which, as for the actual info we know already, the system is being revealed during this current financial quarter, being from this current moment until March of 2025. There will be Nintendo Switch Online or NSO support, both through regular online connectivity and through the multiple NSO apps, but it's currently unknown if the same apps will carry over from Switch 1 to Switch 2. There will be backwards compatibility with Switch 1 titles as well. So at least we have those measures to go off of, and to be honest, I probably would have included Switch 1 backwards compatibility in this video if it wasn't already announced. In regards to the reveal of the console itself, as well as the marketing for the console up until the release date, I would like to see a similar formula to how their approach with Switch 1's rollout was. Switch 1's reveal trailer was in October of 2016, where it showed the console's hybrid capabilities, some games such as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, and Zelda Breath of the Wild, and revealed the console's name so people would stop calling it by its codename, the NX. 3 months later, in January 2017, a major press event held in Japan, more commonly known online as the Nintendo Switch January 2017 presentation, aired, which gave more insight to the console's specs, price point, release date, a breakdown of the Joy-Con controller, and many game announcements. I'd like to imagine the company would do a similar rollout to Switch 1's. Why fix what isn't broken? This rollout was very successful for the Switch, so why not do something similar again? What I'm hoping for is a reveal this month, so January, that details the new major differences between both the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, which according to leaks could be new Joy-Cons, maybe a new Pro Controller, maybe some new games. Please. Basically just a simple trailer that shows off the console and nothing else too crazy. Then following this format, a couple of months later, I'm thinking maybe late March, we could see an equivalent to that January 2017 presentation, but for the Switch 2. This presentation might even be a Nintendo Direct styled live presentation instead of an in-person press event. Either way, this event would detail the console specs in greater detail, price point, release date, and multiple game announcements just like the same presentation did 8 years ago. Now when it comes to the Switch 2's release date, I've thrown many ideas around in my head over the past year or so. Originally, I thought the console would have been announced last November and would be released by April, but I highly doubt that now. I've seen some people on Twitter recently throw the idea around that the Switch 2 will launch alongside Alarmo's global launch date, which is currently scheduled for March 2025. I can easily see this happening, and it would also tie into the idea that they're continuing a similar rollout to Switch 1. The only issue I have with it is, if it's true that the reveal for the console is this month, January, then that only gives them 2 months of marketing before the console's launch. If they're launching a console with a new first-party game that hasn't even been seen before, that also gives that game only 2 months of marketing and promotion until release. It was different with Breath of the Wild, where that game was known for 2 more years prior to the Switch 1's release, but if they reveal a game during this theoretical presentation and have it as a launch title, it doesn't seem like enough time to me to have a successful marketing campaign. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have a title that's so impactful that it doesn't matter if it has 2 months between reveal and release. It'll be that successful. So to bounce back to the previous topic, I personally think that the console's reveal will be this month, in January, the major presentation for the console will be in March, and the console's release date will be in June. I think they've learned from the first couple of months from Switch 1's launch on how successful their first-party titles did sale-wise during the spring to summer months, so why not do the same thing again? Their target audience consists of children, teenagers, and young adults, and they will have a lot of time on their hands during the summer, so why not release it then? Talking price, but, well, as for how much the console itself is going to cost, I'm not entirely certain. It's difficult to gauge without fully knowing the specs of the console, and I'm aware that there have been some pretty noteworthy leaks regarding the internals of the hardware, but I'm not entirely caught up to date on all of that. Plus, I'd rather wait to hear what's officially in the system from the company themselves. In 2017, Switch 1 was $299.99 USD or $399.99 Canadian. I'm expecting the Switch 2 to start at either $399.99 or even $449.99 USD, meaning $499 or $549.99 Canadian, due to the potential of the system's new advanced capabilities. But I could be way off, that's just an assumption. Like I said before, I'll be covering some of the rumors regarding the console's specs, but not all of the fine specific details. We've heard that the Switch 2 will supposedly have magnetic Joy-Cons for a long time now, so I think that's a guarantee. I would still like for Switch 1's Joy-Cons and Pro Controller to still be able to connect to Switch 2, but for the Joy-Cons, I doubt they'll be able to attach to the console themselves, especially if these new magnetic Joy-Cons have a different way of attaching to the console that isn't sliding the actual controller down the tablet. I think you can still wirelessly connect to previous generation's controllers to use them, but you won't be able to, like I said, physically attach them to the tablet. I think we'll see a wider OLED screen for the tablet, maybe bigger than the current Switch 1's OLED model. The dock itself should hopefully remain untouched, but I would really like for them to add more USB ports if possible, because 2 on Switch 1's base model was alright, but only 1 on the OLED model was a crazy choice. I also think they're going to stick to cartridges for the games, but they'll probably upgrade their max size capacity from Switch 1's 32 gigs to a more fitting 64 gigs. Now on to the most exciting part, the games themselves. Starting with Switch 2's launch titles, I think we'll see 2 first-party titles and maybe 3 to 4 third-party titles. As for exactly what those titles may be, I'm not too sure really. I'd like to think Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will be a launch title, but I'll talk about that game later. For me personally, I would love to see the console launching with a Mario game, be it a new Mario Kart or a new 3D Mario. Those two are both system sellers, as we've seen throughout the past couple of generations, but especially so on Switch 1. Third-party titles are more difficult to predict, as there are so many possibilities to choose from, but some that came to mind right away that definitely could spark light into the console were Final Fantasy VII Remake, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Red Dead Redemption 2, Elden Ring, and Doom the Dark Ages. All of these games, besides Doom the Dark Ages, have been released previously, but not on Switch 1 hardware. So I think in order to gauge a bigger audience before release, they could announce or show off that these games, which were previously recognized as powerful games which couldn't run on Switch 1, are now running on Switch 2. I believe this way they could really show the differentiation between both consoles and just how powerful Switch 2 actually is. Also, having a brand new Doom game simultaneously release on every major platform would be a huge boost. So to quickly recap, my hopes for the first-party launch titles are either a new Mario Kart or a new 3D Mario, and a new Nintendo EPD4 party game. Nintendo EPD4 are the development team responsible for games like 1-2-Switch, Miitopia, the Nintendo Labo, so I'm guessing they'll have some tech demo-y party title for launch. And for the third-party games I listed, I hope the launch titles are Elden Ring, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Final Fantasy VII Remake. When it comes to first-party titles that could be released throughout the console's first year, I've got a couple of ideas. For one, backwards compatibility being confirmed is a major thing to consider. I think it closes the door on seeing deluxe versions of Switch 1 games, but opens the door to Switch 1 games potentially receiving some form of upscaling update. Earlier this month, there was an NSO data mine where someone found files for 4K resolution options and DLSS, so maybe that's something to go off of. In saying Switch 1 games get these performance patches, I will immediately be replaying through Xenoblade 3. In regards to first-party Switch 1 titles releasing before Switch 2, we know that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is releasing on January 16th, this upcoming Friday, and Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition releases on March 20th. I think these two obviously won't be dual releases since there is backwards compatibility. I think we're going to see a pretty slow year for Switch 1, kind of how 2017 to 2018 was for the 3DS when the Switch was initially revealed. Going off of an earlier point saying how I want Switch 2 to follow a similar rollout as Switch 1, I'd like for them to have a major first-party title release each month of the first year, so June through December. I think this formula was incredibly successful for the Switch 1 and allowed for many users to get involved in franchises they've never even played before. I remember during Switch 1's first year, I bought a lot of games that I had never even thought I would play. I don't have an idea for a game for every single month of 2025, but I can think of a couple right now. Pokemon Legends Z to A is currently slated for 2025, and we haven't gotten any info on the game since its reveal last February. I think we're gonna see a Pokemon Presents presentation at the end of this month, where the main focus will be on Legends Z to A. It's there where we'll see the confirmation that it's going to release simultaneously on Switch 1 and Switch 2, making it a dual console release. Another game that I've been dead set on for being a dual console release is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I've been saying to my friends for a while now that there is no way possible that Prime 4 ends up being a Switch 1 exclusive after this long of a development time. I think they'll end up giving it the Breath of the Wild treatment, where the game was initially revealed to be a Wii U title, but eventually released on both Wii U and Switch 1. Prime 4 was revealed to be on Switch since 2017, but will release on both consoles sometime during 2025. This next one may be a bit of a stretch, but I'm hoping for a new Kirby game during launch here, but I don't think it's quite time for a new 3D Kirby or even a sequel to Forgotten Land just yet. Instead, I think they'll announce an HD remaster of Kirby Planet Robobot for both Switch 1 and Switch 2, making it another dual console release. Out of every modern Kirby game, I think Planet Robobot is the most deserving of an HD remaster, though Return to Dreamland is like my second favorite game ever, so of course I was pleased with that. The last two games are big ones, and are probably my two most wanted games for the system. I briefly talked about them earlier, but here they are again. A new Mario Kart and a new 3D Mario. 2025 marks Mario's 40th anniversary, and if we got a new Mario Kart and a new mainline 3D Mario in the same year, that would be a killer anniversary. I briefly mentioned before how I think one or the other could be contenders for possible launch titles, and I still believe that. Switch 2 needs a system seller in the first month or two in my opinion, and either of these games could make for perfect launch titles, as we damn well know people will buy Mario. There hasn't been a mainline 3D Mario since 2017, being Odyssey, and there hasn't been a mainline Mario Kart installment since 2014. And no, I'm not counting 8 Deluxe, but if you want to, it's also been since 2017. And no, I'm not counting Torres mainline, sue me. I can't even begin to explain what these two games could be. I don't think my brain can process what a so-called new 3D Mario or new Mario Kart could even look like. I can picture that the game is more advanced and visually appealing as a Deluxe or Odyssey. I made a video detailing what I would like to see from a potential Mario Kart 9, but that video is like 5 years old now, so it's definitely outdated. As for the new 3D Mario game, well, in a perfect world, it's Galaxy 3, or something to continue and evolve that Galaxy formula, but that will never happen. They'll probably make a true open world Mario game where Bowser's Fury acted as the blueprint to what this new game could eventually lead up to. Either way, that concludes my hopes and wishes for the first year of Switch 2. I'm hoping for a reveal and rollout similar to Switch 1's first year, first-party titles releasing every consecutive month after launch, with third-party games sprinkled throughout. Switch 1 titles will have backwards compatibility, along with performance patches that match them up to the current hardware standards. Yeah, that about covers it. If you have any ideas or hopes for what you would like to see on Switch 2, then feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'd love to read them. And if you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Expect more Switch 2 content throughout the year, as I'll be aiming to cover a lot of it going forward. And with that, this is Xenoblade 64, signing off.